first topic of the night on our Wednesday night call. Welcome everybody listening in internet land. Man, this is a good question, but it's a question that's super relevant because it's such at the nexus of everybody's problem with learning the whole social dynamics. I want to get a better dating life and meet women and so on, is that there's people that go this technical route. And of course, stuff is taught in the technical route because that's where most of our clients for the last 10 years have come from. And it's good. You know, like I love mapping out all that stuff. But there's this thing that is not so technical that if guys have, dude, it blows everything out of the water. It's awesome. And you've got to focus on that. So this actually, everybody I know knows that I teach, dating, social dynamics. Very often that I'm introduced by like my bro guy friends. It's like, dude, you know what this guy does for a living? Is he fucks chicks and then teaches guys how to do it, which is kind of like a little bit of a distortion. But at one time that had a little bit more truth to it. But the thing is that we talk about sex and we talk about those things a lot. And so my buddy, who's very, very good with women, very good with sexual experiences, and the guy has just got it. I mean, the dude, that's why I like him. The reason why I like hanging out with him is because we talk a lot about, sex and joking around about it and an experienced guy. But he was actually saying, like, how do I meet women in certain situations? And he was really specific about it. It was like, man, there was this thing that happened the other night where this girl was attractive. She was behind the bar. She was a bartender there. There weren't a lot of people. And, there were a few customers who were like loud and obnoxious, but how do you talk to her? And I'm like, really? You have a problem with that? That hasn't happened before? And it just occurred to me like how much guys who have already had some experience with women, who had been to the end zone enough times and got to know sexuality could present their intent, like how much they miss the opportunity to have the different sexual adventures that they want. Now, first off, let me just start this here. No shame in sex. Cut that shit out of your life, whether you're good with women, you're not good with women. Because if you have that there, then you have to do more. You have to do something covert in order to get a woman's attention. But if you have this idea that, men and women naturally sexually interact, and this is one of the most normal things that we could do, like how does attraction work? I was writing about this when putting together one of our new workbooks, is like attraction is basically, it happens when a guy and a girl that are heterosexual get closer and more alone. So literally the more physically and emotionally, so literally and figuratively get closer, as well as the less stimuli from the outside world, you're going to have attraction. It's just going to naturally build because men and women, we already have it in our DNA. But everybody thinks it's something outside of that situation that we have to do. So, as I was telling my buddy, I'm like, look, man, you need very little. You need enough structure and social dynamics tools to get somebody to open up to you so that you could just look at her. Because if you're attracted to her, at some point, she's going to pick up that you like her because you are such a sexual guy. And so if you're wondering if you're a sexual guy, like he knows it, right? He's had those experiences. But if you're like, well, I've had some sex, but I've had some girlfriends, but I'm not really good at it. You could still have this. Like if you can read a person, if you can go like, wow, I think that girl's turned on and, get a good read on a situation or be like, no, man. Or if you're one of those guys where you watch your friend and your friend's talking to a girl and you can tell it's like, hey, she wants you, like get her number, go home with her or whatever it is you're coaching him through that he may not see, then this is part of that social intelligence that you do have and you need to learn to project it. If you're not a guy that has this, again, start with a lot of stuff that we talk about at TSL. If you start with number one, the mirror exercise, and a lot of people like that, but people might go, but that's not getting me the result. How am I going to project my sexual intent through looking at myself in the mirror? Well, that's the first step. Eventually you'll add some intent. Eventually you'll add some intent to other people. You'll start experimenting with this, but you've got to build that social intelligence of projecting the social intelligence, but also reading it and having those work as their own language while you're saying words, but this is what, guys that I think are naturally good with women are just very, very good at. So all that he needs to do is get her attention, find something like real about her. And actually, as I told her, I was like, look, man, you're looking at this girl and it's actually funny what he said. Cause I'm like, you're looking at this girl and you got to go like, hey, how can I find out who that real person is? And he actually said the same thing that everybody says, like, well, they're paid to flirt with you. It's like, yeah, but they could always not talk to you. And that thin veneer of kindness goes away pretty quick. That's just one small 10-second advantage that you have. So, trust me, dude, trust me. Like, don't worry about, the bartender can easily not talk to you if she doesn't like you, right? So all you have to do is find out something real about her. This is like just a general mechanic, and this is good for any woman, but find something real about her, get to know it, have her know that you know it, and then say, wow, that is really attractive. I like you for that. And then your other sub-communications of whatever weird sexual presence shit that you do just naturally is going to come out, right? And, which I don't know what it'll be, but like those nonverbals, the body language, the getting closer, the eye contact, your parting of the lips, your touching, your grabbing of her, all this stuff that he already has working for him, right? But that sounds like this crazy concept. So what he says to that is he's like, dude, yeah, so fucking find out what she likes and then just be like, yeah, that's hot, let's fuck. And so to a guy, when they hear that structure, especially when they have so much experience with women and so much experience with him, like he knows like how women can compartmentalize sex and like how they may not see sex as, a fluid language yet. So a lot of people, men and women, bring a lot of shame or baggage into the bedroom. And so he was kind of going that route. He's like, oh man, her fucking secret of being, fuck sideways or whatever. Like, and I'm just going to basically lie to her to get there. I was like, no, man, no, think about this. Like, what would you want to know about this girl? Like, what would you want to know about her? What's the first thing that you noticed about her? Why couldn't you bring that up? And I was telling him, I was like, look, and I really, when I talk to people, I want them to figure it out. Because when you figure it out, you're going to learn 10 times more. It's that much more of an efficient lesson when we do that, okay? Rather than me just giving you a line. But we'll get to that line, as we always do, okay? So it's like, man, what would you want to know? He's like, man, and for him, it was like, I want to know what she fucking looks like when I fuck the shit out of her. I was like, fuck yeah, I can relate with that. I wish more guys brought that up. So it's like, that's part of your motivation. You want to see, and this is something that I can relate with. You want to see what her face is going to look like when you have her body, right? How's she going to moan for you? All those different things. Okay. So if that's your goal of what you want to find out, of what you want to know about her and her value, essentially, which she's going to give you. And I don't mean value like money. I mean value of like what she really values about herself. That would mean her sexuality and her presence, right? So how do we get that, right? How can we extract that from her in a conversation that's not going to freak her out? So as I said, in the principles of social dynamics, you can talk to anybody about anything as long as they can understand it. And let's actually go over this like really carefully. This is just kind of off the top of my head, but we talk about it a lot at TSL, is that, people are afraid of judgment. That's going to shut them up. So if they think that you're going to judge them or you're going to misinterpret them, that you're going to somehow not get a part of them, they're not going to say it, whether it's their favorite band or their sexuality. It's just sexuality is real easy for that. The other thing is that if they're having a bad day, they're not in the emotional mood to ever show any part of themselves. It's going to be harder. You can still open that up and you can counter all sorts of stuff, but you may not be able to determine that right at first look. So another no you might get, or a point of resistance in talking to them or having them open up to you, is that they're having a bad day. They're not emotionally ready for it. Number two might be the situation. There's a lot of other stimuli. There's a lot of people talking to him. In this case, a bartender who's, getting ready to clean up and, her job's almost done, end of the night sort of thing. But it could really be, all sorts of stuff. Her friend is in a hurry. She just got a phone call from somebody. The situation could screw it up. And then there's also that she just may not like you. She just might not like you. But the funny thing is whenever guys hear no, they think, she doesn't like me. When usually it's a combination of these other things. Like, this is a weird question. I can't understand. Or man, this guy likes me and he's turned on by me. That's a good thing, right? But when you're not prepared as a woman and you just have a guy pushing on you, that's a bad thing. But it would turn into a compliment if, that she could understand where you're coming from and have a road to walk on. So literally one of the best things that we could do is present a road that somebody could walk on. We can ask somebody that's an easy thing to answer back. okay, to engage them, or maybe a process or series of questions that would be easy to answer back and get deeper, while at the same time acknowledging like, hey, I'm not trying to scare you. Hey, well, if you're not in the mood to answer, totally cool. So we're actually empowering the choices of those specific points of resistance. Like, man, I know you're busy with stuff. No big deal. If you have time, I'll explain more. We could really get down to those things, or just be like, hey, yeah, I get it. You don't want to talk to somebody about this or me or whatever. It's all good. No big deal. Let's talk about fucking football or some shit like that. So we could move in those directions very easily, right? And so how do we get to like, man, how her sexuality is expressed and how I could express my sexuality with her? And so you could get there with anything, right? What kind of food do you like? How long have you worked here? Where are you from? Let's look at all these like easy, stupid questions that people just can kind of spit out. Okay. And so this is how we want to structure our conversation really with everybody. In pickup, they call them AFC questions. I think they're fucking awesome because the way you make an AFC question, badass question, is you just add one thing at the end or give it some direction at the end. It's great. So it's like, hey, where are you from? How long have you worked here? You from a big family? You from a small family? Whatever. The easy yes, like things, or the easy things that people can acknowledge. And so easily ask her, it's like, hey, I got a question. How long have you worked here? And this is actually true for the specific place that he's talking about, because usually like trashier people work at that place. And maybe she is, I don't know. But apparently it didn't look that way. So like, hey, how long have you worked here? Like, how long have you worked at this place? And, easy to say, 5 months, 6 months, whatever. She could be cleaning something during that, not paying too much attention to you, all that sort of stuff, but just trying to get some things going. But what makes this stupid AFC dumb chump question such a good question is what we can do after that, and to give it some direction and just say, no, you just don't seem like the typical, wing house chick or whatever it is, right? You just don't seem like the typical girl that works here. It's kind of cool. No big deal. So the cool thing about that is there's some vagueness to it, right? So there's some vagueness. Vagueness stimulates curiosity. It stimulates interest. It also stimulates your specific brand of however you're interpreting that. Okay, so what I mean by this very specifically, because vagueness can be found in so many things, and if you get this is the real pivot point. If you get somebody to step into that vacuum, I guess you could say, of vagueness, you can, pull them in all sorts of different directions. Okay, and so if I say to you, it's like, man, I really like you just because you remind me of a friend, but let me ask you a question. So now it's like, hey, I remind Steve of some person that he knows. I don't know what that means. I kind of want to know what it means. I'm kind of curious about it. And now I can start defining different attributes of that friend as to what I may assume about them. And I'm clearly assuming it. That's why I'm saying it. I want to know. I want to ask. And so now I can ask you questions based on like my friend. And, hopefully you have plenty of friends that you could pull different personality traits from. So with a girl, and especially going towards her sexuality, well, you know what? Let's look at this a little bit. I know women pretty well. I've had this conversation so many times. But a woman's sexuality, what is that? It's very personal to her, right? So it's her personal expression. It's a part of her relationships, but it's a small part of her relationships. It's not all of her relationships. So it's just this little piece of her relationships. Oftentimes it's misinterpreted. It's misinterpreted by men. Men see it all the time. Men misuse it or mistreat it all the time. And so, and it's also probably her thing that she's most proud of too, when it does connect. And so these are all things that, your sexuality comes to play. Oftentimes, I'll tell you this is where it doesn't work. If there's a girl that's too young, she just doesn't have as much experience. So there could be 19-year-old women that have a lot of experience with that, but hey, watch out. And then there could be 26-year-old women that don't have a lot of experience with it. And that's where it's going to be tough. So it really has to do with experience, but oftentimes it's younger girls. Okay. So if they don't have experience with this, then they just won't know. And you'll have to take a little bit of a different road of describing it. But you could very easily say something like, hey, how long have you worked here? You don't seem like the typical, girl that works here or whatever, but it's just, I don't want to say anything that bugs you, and just put that bait there. Why is that bait there? I don't want to say anything that might bug you. Number one, it's kind of polite, but number two, again, it's alleviating those tensions specifically of like, I don't want to be the guy that pushes. I don't want to, say something that gets misinterpreted. And I don't want you to think that I think of you in a bad way. Okay. So it's bait that's specifically geared to move in a certain way where you can, stimulate this conversation and so on. So, she'll say, well, she'll most likely react to that. Okay. The reason why I say it is because it works, right? Especially in a waitress or bartender setting. It's like, man, you just remind me of somebody, or you just don't seem like the person that would work at this place just because, man, I don't want to say anything that'll bug you or whatever. You open-minded person. And they say, well, yeah, or no, or whatever. And I'll say, well, I'll explain anyway. It just gives me a great opportunity to explain. Now I've just catapulted myself to where I can talk about any subject, literally from that vague point, any subject very quickly. Okay. So where I would go is I would pick a real friend of mine. Okay. So I could pick a real friend of mine. Hopefully you have one. But generally you don't need to lie about this because you probably know somebody like this. So I'm going to pick a friend that was somebody that, was a very sexual person, but didn't choose their boyfriends well or their relationships well. And so there was like this confusion with her sexual expression. This will be very easy if I can bring up this friend and, say, hey, are you like that? Have my friend truly represented to the girl in front of me so that she can say, hey, this is me or not. That's really comfortable. It's really easy to bring up. It's not offensive. It might get a little bit awkward at the point where I'm like, hey, is that you? But it should, again, be that easy yes, that easy. What I mean by that, it's like, yes, I can answer that. So I could say, I grew up with this girl and she was literally one of my best friends for like, God, man, it's going to sound weird, but like from the 6th grade on, just an amazing girl. And, it's actually really cool. It has a happy ending that she's married now, has kids, and like just I see her all over Facebook talking about how great her life is. So that's fucking awesome. But man, in her early 20s, just couldn't nail down, the right guy, all the wrong places. And sometimes, we always had this on-off love affair where it was like, sometimes I'd be that guy and sometimes not and whatever. And then I was like friend zoned by her big time and all this sort of stuff. And then, we'd go in this passionate deal, but I got to know her life so much. And it was really one of those things where it's like she was almost like too passionate for her own good, whether that was in what she did artistically, what she did in her relationships, but it was like when it came to sex, it was out of balance with who she was, or what she really wanted. And it was almost like what she really wanted of like the wife and kids stuff. She felt that the part of her couldn't really interact with all these other things. And, man, it's funny because you just remind me of her, and she was a bartender for a long time too, and yada, yada, yada. But hey, let me ask you this. Now I can very easily ask a qualifier that would be a little bit more real that might get a real answer out of her. And the key is I want to get that real answer. So she's understood this concept, hopefully, right? And I could say like, well, hey, like, do you find that there's a difference between guys that you have dated and guys that you're attracted to? This is actually an interesting thing because that's a great question to ask, because everybody, guys who are good with women, women who are good with men, guys who get everything they want, and then the guys and girls who don't get everything they want, almost never get what they're attracted to. And what I mean by that is like right now, if I'm single, I'm like, I'm attracted to this. I want this. I'm going to get it. Most likely, if you're good with women, or a girl that's good with guys too, you'll get something that you're attracted to, but it won't be that thing. And so it's interesting. Everybody will get this when you talk about it. So if you ask that qualifier, basically like, hey, what is it that you, is there a difference between the guys that you date and then the guys that you're really attracted to? And you could explain it more. It's like, well, no, it's like before you had a boyfriend or whatever, you probably like fantasized about what you wanted, or the last time you were gossiping with your friends like 2 weeks ago, you're like, oh my God, I just want this in the bedroom or whatever. But usually what happens is not that, she'll get that. She'll understand that. Right. And, so that's just a personality trait. That's a personality trait of her sexuality. The reason why I go for questions like that as well is that it has to do with an intimate decision that she has. And it's something that she probably doesn't talk a lot about with people, because people don't talk about this. And she probably thinks about it a lot and would like to talk about it. It's like, wow, what I like isn't always what I get. What I get is different than what I thought I would like, and so on. And what really does turn me on, or what really does do it for me in a relationship, is probably very different than all sorts of other stuff. Okay, so once you have that there, and once she can express, it's like, no, yeah. Like when she really opens up, it's like, wow, I never really thought about that. Like that these things never really, may happen. Like, fuck, that's crazy. That's all you need to then state intent. Okay. And so for a technical guy, it's like you state intent, you go like, man, that's really attractive. I like that. This is kind of a weird, on a whim thing, but what do you do outside of here for fun that like is cool? You don't just go like hang out with these guys and just drink beer with your coworkers. Like, what's cool? Like, we should do something sometimes. And that would be a way to state intent. It could happen very quickly. But for a dude like my buddy, man, all he would have to do is this. And let's go back to square one. I know I've been talking for a while, but let's actually break this down really quickly of how cool it would go. You sit down, the fucking bartender saw you, like, holy shit, this girl's hot. You order, whatever it is, a beer, water, pizza, whatever shit you order, you put in the order, and you say like, hey, I have a question. Like, how long have you been working here? And I'm always very casual when I ask it. It's funny because one guy brought up, he's like, man, like, you never use eye contact. And I don't. I do exactly this. I'm like, like, how long have you worked here? So I split it up. I could go into a whole bunch of theory and shit about that, but eye contact's good. It's a great thing. It syncs you up with somebody. I just use it in a different way. And then they say, I've worked here for 3 months. It's like, no, you remind me of somebody, and you just don't seem like the typical employee here. It's like, hey, there's a personal gesture towards them. It's like, you don't seem like the typical employee here. Not that that's bad or whatever. It's actually kind of cool. But they're like, oh, okay, yeah, cool. Or, casual. No big deal, right? And so then, like I said, I wanted to put some bait in there, because I don't want the casual person, right? I want to go for the deep person, but I don't want to go too deep that pisses them off. So what are the points of resistance? I don't want to scare them, show that, they're unsafe, show them that they're going to be misjudged, show them that I'm objectifying them, or any stuff like that. So I say no, you remind me of somebody, but yeah, I don't. It's actually a cool story, but are you busy right now? Or I don't, do your thing. I'll tell you if it comes back to us later. Goes and does her thing. And this is actually something which is what will happen with waitresses. You got to let them go. It's not about how long you could. I got her to ignore her customers forever, so much that her boss got mad at her and she chose me. That's like what a lot of pickup guys do. And yeah, whatever. So the thing is that then we can say something like, when she comes back, it's just like, all right, I got to tell you this story. Okay, so one of my best friends throughout all of my life was, this one girl. I've known her since the 6th grade. We hung out, we like dated off and on, and we were supposed to be like this love affair, but it never happened. And so, like, when I dated people, which was rarely, she was like off to the side, and we were friends, but we really liked each other. When she dated people, which was a lot, I was like on the side. And it's crazy because, the story has a happy ending. That's actually a key point, because the happy ending, which is true for this girl in particular, it's very, very good, right? You want that because you want it to be presented in a good light. It's like, no, man, she's a wife, has kids, loves being a mom, and she's like super interactive with it, and it's totally crazy. But she's 38 now, and she's actually still really attractive. But like her early 20s, that was not there. It was like, meet a guy, hook up with him, like him, dislike him, really passionate about with her, what she did artistically. And it was almost too much, would like get her in trouble, like too many commitments, would, sacrifice the rest of her life for certain things. And it was just, there was so much of that. And, I don't know. I mean, I know you're a totally different person and I don't know you, but like, let me ask you this. Like, do you ever like want things too much, but they're not the things that make you happy? Okay. Vague question. When I have vagueness, I could pull somebody in a direction. So I could say, do you really want something, but you realize it doesn't make you happy? Like an example, here's my pull back in the vacuum, right? The example would be like, man, so the last guy you dated, or the current person that you may have dated, or be dating, did you like him? And be like, oh man, this guy is fucking great. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh my God, he is the biggest mirror to myself, and yada, yada, yada. Now that's a tough question. So a girl may not want to answer that. Is she not answering it because she doesn't like me? Probably not. Is she not answering it because she thinks I'm going to misunderstand her? Okay, maybe, and judge her. Maybe. Is she not answering because she doesn't fully understand my question? Most likely. Is she not answering because she feels unsafe or has to, do something, or is distracted? Maybe, maybe not. So I'm going to go with, well, hey, no big deal if you have to get back to work. I don't mean to ask a bunch of deep questions. Could push back on that. But then I could also push back on the one that I think is the most important, which is not understanding it. Okay, not understanding it, and then with a backing of not judging it. So it'd be like, no, man. I mean, it's like, when you first date somebody, you're like, oh my God, this guy's really great. And then all of a sudden, like, you get all involved and they get pissed off with each other and you guys stop having sex or whatever. And it's like, oh, we're going to do this. And the honeymoon phase is over, blah, 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 blah. But, it's a good thing. I'm not trying to say it to be an asshole. Okay. And so at that point, that should stimulate some form of conversation or some form of expression, or her basically saying yes in her head, I can talk about that, And so now I can start empowering it. And I could be like, no, for my friend, it took her years to figure that out. But that's actually what, made her happy. I remember talking to her a couple of years ago and just like, God, if I could have just let all the bullshit go in my early 20s and just go like, God, this is what I want. And actually, here's another line, is like to be a lady, in the day. But for my man, totally give myself. Or there's that saying, like a lady in the day or a whore in the bed or something like that. Not saying that that's you, but you get what I'm saying, right? It's like so many people divide that. I don't know. It's odd. Women don't give themselves that. And so also usually I back off there at that point, because it's like the girl will be like, oh my God, this is getting deep. And I just say, well, yeah. It sucks for women. Women and men do that, and it's a bummer. It's too bad people aren't more happy. So I then downplay it and really give it a sense of like normalcy. That's what it has to do. So as soon as she feels that, then I could be like, you know what, man, that's cool. Like I dig that. Like, what do you do other than work here for fun? Like hang out at some bar with the rest of these guys or whatever. No, we should hang out sometime. I think you'd be a good person to have a conversation with, like in a setting where we could. What's your number? What's your Facebook? Whatever. Now, again, with that, I don't really give a shit. I want the easiest yes for communication. I want the easiest open point for communication. Obviously, if they're like, hey, follow me on Instagram, it's not going to work. But like, I want something where I can interact. I can interact over Messenger. I can interact over phone. I can interact over text. But that actually doesn't even matter either. But it's really like, how can I meet up with them? That's the most important deal. And that would do it. Now for my buddy, if you got to that point where, the real pivot point would be like, man, like, is that you? And she starts to say like, oh man, that could be. And he would just be like, wow, this is exactly what my friend would do. He'd be like, that's fucking cool, man. No, seriously. Like, I work with people in these specific ways. And like, that is a like, he would just get so intense on her. Like, you would not have to fake that in any way. He would just be like, no, that is fucking cool. That is interesting. Like, I am interested in you. And he would just say something, that he really thought meant, and he would really be fired up. But that's one of those things that guys are missing. It's like that honing in, like, wow, no, yeah, that is amazing. And so guys who maybe haven't had as much sexual experience, if you could learn that to where when somebody says something to you and they're really giving a real part of themselves to you, like that's the best pivot point in the game. Be super interested. Holy shit. You know, when this fucking book that came out from this dumbass PUA company, it was like, it's a really old one. So it says stuff like this: when you're talking to a girl, look at her and demand her attention. And when she's talking to you, look around like you don't care, you know? And so that the dynamic there is to show that you're more valuable than her. But no, that's like the dumbest thing you can do. If a girl's talking to you and she's really being herself, be like, wow, okay. And even if as I'm doing this right now, I'm thinking about my other buddy who's also a player, and that's all that motherfucker does. It's like some girls like, you know, well, I love makeup and nail polish and putting together Build-A-Bears, and like he'll just be like, wow, really? No, see it, like I want to know more about that. Like, and he's truly interested in a sexual way. He may not be interested in that topic, but he is like hot on it. And so that, if you can get to that point, it's just where they show their real selves. It's just where they open up. Man, that's enough for that natural guy just to fucking bulldoze and fuck it up. And you know, the girl can still choose, I don't like you. But man, that opens up your playing field for so many more women if you could just get to that point in a conversation.